Hi, guys. Welcome. This is Joe Madden of Joe Madden Sports Podcast. We're kicking it back off, you guys, and I'm kicking it off with the best guest possible, Gabb Goudy here of Fanduel. Gabb, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm absolutely incredible. So excited to have you on. I can't wait to hear your story into the sports
Yeah,
industry.
thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure of mine. Let's hear. How'd you get into this industry? You're with
Okay.
FanDuel. You're doing so many amazing things over there. Let's hear it.
Okay, so it's a wild journey. I haven't always done sports. I didn't go to school for sports. I played sports my whole life, but I went to school for biochemistry. Went to school for biochemistry. I got a biochemistry degree. I was going to go to school to be an eye doctor. I took the test, I did everything. So applying to schools, and then I came to terms with myself. I'm like, I hate blood and I don't want to touch anybody. I don't like it. I'm not gonna make it. I need to figure out something else to do. So then I went to grad school, and I went to grad school for sustainability, green chemistry. Went to that. I started working in a lab after that. And I just started posting about sports for fun on the internet, just as like a little side thing to do. People started following. My biggest thing that happened was I posted a photo of Odell Beckham Jr. on the sideline at his very first orange and brown scrimmage in Cleveland, and he retweeted it. And then people started following me. I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck? Friends are like, you say good sports stuff. You should just start posting about it. I did. More people started following, then companies started reaching out, and here I am now 2 years later, working in sports and no longer in the science field. And yeah, it's a big change, but I love it.
Absolutely. I think it's a great change. It really suits your personality, everything that you are doing over there. Have you always had a passion for sports?
Yeah, I've played sports my whole life. My dad has been a sports fan. We went to games my entire life. We went to Guardians games forever. We Browns games, Cavs games. It's just been a big sports fan. Like my mom and my brother, they're not the most like sporty people. They still like it, but me and my dad always talked about sports. He would coach me through everything, and yeah, I've just had sports a part of my life
And you played
as well.
softball, correct?
Yeah, I played softball in college. I played softball in college. I ran a little cross country because I needed some people to fill out some days because they didn't have enough. But yeah, I did.
Oh, I love it. And now you started working with FanDuel. How long have you been
Mhm.
with FanDuel now?
Since July 2020.
I
So
think we have a
yeah.
little bit of a stream here.
What did you say? Oh no, I think my thing paused.
Apologies. Apologies, Gabb. I have a little bit of a lag on the stream here. I was asking you, let me just get her back in, you guys here. Sorry,
Sorry,
had a little bit of a lag
on
there.
you. I froze on you, I think.
That's
Yeah.
okay. So you have been with FanDuel for the last
Mhm.
couple of years.
Yes, for
How do you
almost
like
2
working with them?
years.
And tell us about your podcast you're doing with them.
I love working with them. I've gotten to travel to so many cool events. I've gotten to meet so many people I never thought I would ever meet in my life, talk to people I would never think I would be in the same room with. And then we just started a show with them last football season. It's called Unsportsmanlike Conduct. It's every Tuesday at 7 p.m. live on Twitch. Me and my host Bree, we talk literally anything and everything in the sports world. And it's a fun
Oh,
time.
awesome. I love it. I'm going to have to check it out. I have to say, I haven't checked it out yet, but I definitely will. I can't wait to listen. So every Tuesday at what time Eastern was that,
7
Gabby?
p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday on FanDuel's Twitch.
Perfect. I'll definitely check that out. Now, tell me more about what your favorite teams are in Cleveland. Are you riding all of the Cleveland teams, or do you have one in particular that you really cheer for?
So I would say my number one team has always been the Cavs. I think I would put them at first place
Okay.
because I love LeBron. LeBron James is my sports hero. I've watched him since I was in kindergarten playing basketball, and I would put the Cavs as my number one always. We just went through a little bit of a tough time recently, but the Cavs are back now. So that's good. I'd put Cavs as number one, and then Guardians and Browns, they're pretty interchangeable depending on the season, but I still really enjoy both of them. I support all the Cleveland teams through all of the down years, which is mostly what it is.
Yeah. Well, tonight we have the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Chicago White Sox.
Ooh.
Any thoughts on this game?
I feel like Zach Plesac always plays well against the White Sox. I think last year he beat them every single time he played them, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. However, he is good for giving up at least one home run a game. And if that was possible to bet, I would bet that every single
Yep.
game that he pitched. But I don't know. I have good faith in them. I think they'll do well with Zach on the mound. I think Guardians will go Guardians. Guardians win. I have to say they're going to win.
Okay, well, that's great plus money if they pull off the
Mhm.
win for you there. We're getting them at plus 170. Any thoughts on the total? We have a total of 7.5. If you think he's going to give up at least run, do
Over.
you think
We're
home
going to
run
go over.
over?
We're going to go over.
Okay. Okay, I could see that happening. So
Don't come for me if I'm wrong, but just congratulate me when I'm right.
absolutely. The thank me later comments
Mhm.
definitely come into play there. Now, Cleveland Browns, what is happening over there? What are you thinking with this whole Baker Mayfield situation?
So it's just another offseason, I will say, for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, I don't think I've had an offseason that was ever normal. I don't think there's ever been a normal one. With Baker Mayfield, he's definitely never going to play for the Cleveland Browns ever again. I would say that is probably something I would say is pretty truthful.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't have much else. I don't know what else is going to happen. I don't think anyone knows what's going to happen with him at this point.
No, not at all. And these stories coming out where he really thinks the Browns were against him, trying to make him look bad last season. Any thoughts on that? What was the buzz in Cleveland about him?
I mean, we're very appreciative of what he did for our city because, as everyone has ever seen, the Browns are the Browns. We don't really win things, we don't go to the playoffs. But at the same time, the bar was the floor. Like,
Yep.
the bar was the floor. Everybody in the NFL, you want to win games. Your team wants to be successful. And if you look at the Browns, the best they ever finished in the division with him playing is third. And
That is true.
I don't think that's very successful. Could be worse. We've seen worse, but I mean,
Definitely could be worse.
you always want to improve. You always want the best person available at a position.
Yep.
If you're an employer, and I think that's what it came down to with him. And I do feel bad because no one wants to be in a workplace where you're not wanted.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you're also not doing things that you should be, that also doesn't help either. So
Exactly. So what do you think on Deshaun Watson coming to the Browns?
Football only.
Yep.
He's a very good player. Obviously, he's a really, really good quarterback. I think the team will be a lot better with him playing. I think the locker room respects him more. However, as a woman that's a football fan in general, the NFL is not very accommodating to women. It's a very uncomfortable place for women, as you can see throughout the years with different teams and different players. And it's just I don't know, it's a very uncomfortable subject because you want your team to be good, but then at the same time, it just doesn't feel right to cheer for that success if that's what it costs.
Absolutely. That's a great way to state it without really saying something that could get some people offended. But Gabby, great way to put that. We'll move off that topic. Let's jump into at Fanduel. You've got to interview so many athletes. There's so many athletes making incredible movements within the communities. Who was your favorite interview?
Okay, there's so many good ones. Justin Jefferson. It was a very short interaction, but he was probably one of the nicest and one of my favorites. He was so funny, so nice. He was awesome. He was so great. I would say Justin Jefferson for sure.
Okay, that's awesome. And if you could interview anyone, who would it be? Which athlete would you love to sit down and have a talk with in Cleveland or outside of Cleveland?
I would love to talk to LeBron. I'd be so scared. I'd be so intimidated. But I think LeBron would be awesome to talk to just because he's done so much for the city that I live in and just so much for literally all of Ohio, basically, and for the sport.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think you would be intimidated. I've seen you in some of those interviews, girl, and the way that you talk to those guys. You don't look intimidated one bit. Have you been nervous talking to them, though?
I used to get like really nervous. I was like, what if they hate me? I'm like, what? Like, I used to get so nervous, but I'm like, no, it's just another day at this point. And usually they're nice and they really like the questions that you ask if they're not really sports related because they like to talk about themselves and their personality too. So that's what I like about that.
Oh, absolutely. Do you remember your first ever interview and who it was with?
Yeah, I do. So it's actually really funny. It was with Juwan Johnson. He plays for the Saints. He was a graduate of Oregon. He went to Penn State for a little bit. I did my first interview with him, and he didn't get drafted. He got signed by the Saints later. And on the interview, he was like, "Me and my wife, we just got married. We're trying to start up our TikTok channel. We're trying to get followers. I was their first ever follower on TikTok. Now they have 2 million."
Oh,
Followers.
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And yeah, that was my first one. He was awesome. His wife is awesome. And I just really like their little journey and their story.
Oh, I love it. Okay, Gabby, let's hear again. Where can people find you on socials? Where can they listen to your podcast? And where can they find everything cool that you're doing with Fanduel?
Okay, guys, you can find me at Gabb Goudy, GABBGOUDY. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can find me on Fanduel's page across all platforms. And you can watch my show on Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. on Twitch, Fanduel's Twitch, Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Me and Bree will be there. You guys should come hang out. We talk literally any sport you want to talk about, we will do it. Yep.
And didn't you watch a game with everyone the other week?
Yeah, we just watched the Celtics Bucks.
I love it. What else is better than sitting around watching some sports with you? I'm definitely going to check that out for the next one, Gabb. So thank you so much for joining me here on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. You guys, we will be back with Melissa Cunningham talking some NHL shortly here. Thanks, guys.